Welcome to the Deep Dive. It is Saturday, May 17th, 2025. And today we're jumping right into some really fresh data that just landed, looking at where a specific crypto might be headed.
That's right. Today it's all about FLR, or FLR. We're going under the hood with some new price predictions, trying to get a clearer picture of its potential future.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We've got a few different angles today. There's an article talking about a possible bullish reversal pattern for altcoins generally, mentioning Crypto Rover. Then a really detailed price prediction specifically for FLR from Changelly, actually published today.
Hot off the press.
And also a news piece looking at FLR's recent jump and a super short-term forecast. We even looked at social media trends too.
Yeah, the idea is to pull the key bits from all these sources, connect the dots for you, give you a solid sense of what might be coming for FLR near and maybe longer term without, drowning in jargon.
Perfect. So let's get right to it. What's the current situation? Where's FLR sitting right now?
Well, Changelly's data today puts it around 3 cents. Zeros are 3 cents. But CoinCodex also today has it a bit lower, closer to 0.019888.
Ah, okay. A bit of a difference there, which I guess just shows how fast things move in crypto, right? Different feeds, different moments.
Exactly. Those small discrepancies are pretty normal. It's so dynamic. What's maybe more important is the recent trend. And both sources actually agree it's been positive. Changelly showing a, 9.64% increase over the last week.
Okay.
And 13.28% over the last month.
And CoinCodex, they seem to back that up.
They do, and even stronger figures, actually. They report a 37.39% gain in the past month.
Yeah.
And just today, up 3.11% against the US dollar. So yeah, some real upward movement recently.
That's pretty significant momentum. What about the next few days? Any super short-term predictions?
There is one. CoinCodex is forecasting FLR might reach 0.026269 by May 21st. That's just, 5 days away? It would be a potential jump of over 30%.
Wow. Okay. And what's the general feeling, the market sentiment?
CoinCodex calls it bullish. They say, remarkably, 86% of their technical indicators are pointing positive. Plus, their fear and greed index, it's sitting at 71, which is classified as greed.
Greed, meaning investors are generally feeling pretty optimistic about crypto overall right now.
That's the suggestion, yeah. Positive outlook in the broader market.
Interesting. Now, you mentioned technical indicators. Are there specific price levels people are watching?
CoinCodex points out some key support levels, sort of potential floors around 2.018 and 2.0186, and just under 0.018 cents. And on the flip side, resistance levels, potential ceilings near 0.0198, 0.0204, and 0.0207.
Okay, floors and ceilings, got it. But there's a catch, isn't there? Something about moving averages.
Ah, yes. This is where it gets a little complex. CoinCodex also notes FLR is trading below its 50-day and 200-day simple moving averages. These SMAs, they basically show the average price over the last 50 or 200 days.
Right.
And being below them, well, it can sometimes suggest the recent price trend isn't quite as strong as the longer-term picture, maybe a sign for caution.
So that's kind of a contradiction, isn't it? We have this bullish short-term feeling, the greed index, but these longer-term averages are maybe flashing yellow.
Exactly. It's a bit of a puzzle. You've got positive sentiment, good recent gains, but maybe the longer trend hasn't fully turned yet.
So what could explain the short-term optimism then? Does that Crypto Rover analysis fit in here, the altcoin pattern?
It could. That article mentioned a potential triple bottom pattern forming for altcoins, which could include FLR.
Triple bottom. Okay, break that down for us. Simple terms.
Sure. Imagine the price is going down, hits a low point, bounces up a bit, then falls back to roughly the same low, bounces again. A triple bottom is when it hits that low a third time and then starts a more sustained move upwards.
Ah, okay, so it tests that floor 3 times and holds.
Right. It suggests buyers are stepping in strongly at that level, potentially overpowering the sellers. It can signal a shift from a downtrend to an uptrend.
So the thinking is maybe this pattern is forming for altcoins like FLR, and that's contributing to the bullish vibe we're seeing, despite the SMA lag.
That's a plausible interpretation, yes. It offers a potential reason for the short-term optimism, a sign traders might be looking for.
Okay, that makes sense. So that covers the immediate picture. Let's zoom out now. Changelly's a longer-term view. They went pretty far out, right? Like decades.
They did, all the way to 2050. Now, obviously, super long-term forecasts in crypto, you take them with a grain of salt. They're based on current models.
Of course. It's about the potential trajectory they see based on today's analysis. So what about the rest of this year, 2025?
For the rest of 2025, Changelly's monthly forecasts show a pretty consistent average prediction, around 0.0239 from May through December, based on the price they used in their article, about 0.0193. That represents a potential ROI, return on investment, of around 25%.
Okay, so modest but positive for this year. Any highs or lows mentioned for 2025?
Yeah, they flagged a potential minimum around 0.0188 possibly this month, and a peak for the year potentially hitting 0.0275.
Got it. What about next year, 2026? Does the pace pick up?
According to Changely, yes. For 2026, they project a more noticeable rise, an average price of 0.0338 Kansas, with a minimum expected around 0.0326 and a maximum possibly reaching 0.0399 tans.
And the ROI on that?
That translates to a potential ROI of nearly 109%, again, based on that starting point near 0.0193. And their monthly charts show a gradual climb through 2026.
Wow, okay, over 100% potential return. That's a significant step up. What about further out, say, toward the end of the decade, 2027 to 2030?
The upward trend continues in their forecast. For 2027, the average is predicted at 0.0472, min 0.4455, max 0.0564 cents. Potential ROI over 195%.
Nearly triple the initial investment potential.
Then 2028, average 0.0666 range, 0.0647 to 0.1121 cents. Potential ROI getting close to 417%.
Almost 5x.
And for 2030, average 0.1379 cents, low 0.134 and high 0.161 cents. Potential ROI there is over 747%.
Goodness, those are some increasingly bullish numbers year over year in that forecast.
They're quite striking, yeah.
Yeah.
Shows a strong belief in growth within their model.
And just briefly, because it's so far out, what were those 2040 and 2050 numbers, just for perspective?
Well, this is where the numbers get really huge, reflecting, massive potential growth in their very long-term view. For 2040, they forecast an average of $13.36, man $12.55, max $14.99. The potential ROI is well over 78,000%.
78,000%.
And 2050. Average $15.81. Range $15 to $17.41. Potential ROI over 91,000%.
It's hard to even process numbers like that so far in the future. Again, massive grain of salt territory, but it shows extreme long-term optimism in their analysis.
Absolutely. It illustrates the potential they see, however distant and uncertain.
Okay. Let's switch gears completely. Social media, what's the vibe there? We looked at TikTok, right?
We did. And what's immediately clear is just how much people are talking about crypto and price predictions for 2025. The topic, price prediction cryptos 2025 on TikTok. Over 9.1 million views. Huge public interest and speculation.
Wow, yeah, that's massive engagement. Feels like everyone's trying to guess the next big thing. Did FLR itself come up much?
Not explicitly in the titles we saw scrolling through, no. But the general discussion was broad. Lots of talk about the big names, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, but also tons of others. Meme coins, SUI, ADDOT, Link, VET, AVAX, Tunning, BNB, PPA, even Trump coin, SHIB.
Quite the list. Any specific predictions catching fire?
There were some specific targets thrown around, like we saw mentions of XRP hitting $5 or more by May 19th based on CME futures, apparently.
Okay. Were there overarching themes in these videos?
Definitely. A big one was the idea of a major crypto bull run happening in 2025, like across the board gains, and also this concept of a significant transfer of wealth into crypto. A lot of hopeful sentiment.
So even if FLR wasn't the star of those specific videos, the general feeling about altcoins and this potential 2025 run, that could sort of indirectly lift boats like FLR's.
It could, yeah. The general bullishness towards altcoins and the sheer interest in predictions certainly doesn't hurt the overall atmosphere for something like FLR.
And it ties back nicely, doesn't it, to that CoinCodex Fear and Greed Index being in greed. It suggests that optimistic buzz isn't just on TikTok.
Precisely. The social media chatter, well, often driven by hype, can reflect and sometimes even influence that broader market mood.
Okay, so let's try and pull all these threads together now. We've looked at the current price, short-term signals, those long-term changely forecasts, and the social media vibe. What are the main takeaways from this deep dive on FLR today?
Well, I think the picture is one of, let's say, cautious optimism, maybe. You've got clear positive price action recently. A bullish short-term prediction from CoinCodex suggesting, significant near-term potential. And then changily painting a very optimistic long-term picture, projecting substantial growth over years and decades.
But with that note of caution we talked about earlier.
Exactly. We have to remember that contrast between the immediate bullish sentiment and those lagging simple moving averages. They suggest the longer-term trend might still need to fully confirm this upward move.
And it always bears repeating, especially in crypto, nothing's ever guaranteed, right? Predictions are just that, predictions. Volatility is king.
Absolutely. Market swings can invalidate forecasts quickly. However, that potential triple bottom pattern for altcoins is an interesting factor. If that pattern is indeed playing out, it could signal a genuine shift in momentum, potentially underpinning the bullish sentiment we're seeing.
And the social media snapshot just reinforces how many different views are out there. A real mix of hype, hope, and analysis.
Definitely highlights the dynamic nature of the space. And, everything we've discussed is based on information available today, May 17th, 2025. Things can and likely will change.
So wrapping up, what does all this mean for you, the listener? Well, the sources we've looked at seem to paint a potentially positive picture for FLR, both in the near term with those recent gains and forecasts, and certainly in the much longer term according to Changelly's analysis.
But, as we've stressed, the crypto market is incredibly fluid. Many factors influence price movements. We really encourage you to use these insights as just one piece of the puzzle in your own research. Keep watching FLR, see how things develop, and maybe think about what stood out most to you from everything we covered today.
Yeah, absolutely. And a final thought to mull over. With such varied predictions, from 30% gains in days to, 90,000% gains in decades, and all the market noise, the future for FLR, like for so much in crypto, is still very much an unfolding story. What unforeseen event or development might actually be the key catalyst that shapes its path in the years ahead?
Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.